Welcome back guys, we're back in another WordPress tutorial. This time we're going to be going over how to move your WordPress site to a PBN blog, and there might be many reasons to do this. This is because PBN blogs are on separate IPs. Using new or expired domains, you can now start to build up your other sites and start ranking on search engines. So let's go through some of the steps involved, and let me just explain as well. So I've got two WordPress sites here. However, I want to move the one called Sab's Glam, and if I just come back over to my WordPress dashboard, I want to move it to my PBN blogs because I'm trying to build my PBN blogs here so we can keep blogging, and we can now build up our domains by blogging about each other, linking each other and stuff like that. PBNs are done on separate IPs, so they do get counted as a separate entity. So if you link another domain, that's going to rank you a little bit better in Google as long as it's a good related post and it's not just spammy. If you are creating a blog just to spam other links of other sites, that's not going to do too well. Google will recognize that, so just bear that in mind. Of course, I'm going to be using SeekaHost here. However, it will look very similar if you are using other hosts and you want to move over. If you do want to come over to SeekaHost, come over to the SeekaHost.app. You can get yourself a PBN blog up within a few minutes. So let's get started, and the steps are going to be export our site. So we're going to bring our site right over exactly how it is to the PBN blog. We're going to then be changing name servers and IPs, changing the domain over to actually go to the actual PBN blog rather than the WordPress that it's been hosted on at the moment, and then import our site. And the first thing that you're going to need is going to be the all-in-one WP migration. What this will do, it will create a very nice backup file which you'll then be able to import quite easily onto your site again. Now if you haven't got that already, no problem, let's go ahead to plugins, let's go to add new, and we're just going to go over here and we're going to search for migration. As you can see on the top, we got the all-in-one WP migration. Just go ahead, click install now, then click activate. Before we do this, I just want to say make sure that you have got a HTTPS, so you have got your SSL certificate activated. If you haven't, we have got a video on that. I'll leave a link in the description. You can just go ahead, activate that first, and then make sure to export it properly that way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to export. Click on that button just there. I'm going to go to files because we want to export it as a file that we can then download again. As you can see, it's going to do a few checks now, and then it's going to start exporting your site. And the reason I use this is because it just does it in a great, very easy way. It won't take you very long. If your site is a little bit larger, they have got another free feature that you can use to download it. I believe it's up to 512 megabytes is the maximum that you can do for free. At first, you might have something telling you that you can't do this quite yet. Right, so as we can see, guys, we've got download. So we're going to go ahead and download that, and that will now download it to your PC. As you can see there, it's downloading. And we're just going to have to wait a few minutes for that to download before we proceed to the next point. Now that we have that fully downloaded, we can see there it's all downloaded. We can open the file or check where it is. It should be in the downloads at the moment, and it is. So we can go ahead and close this down. On a side note, make sure to remember your password and username for this particular site, because although we will have to change it over just for a minute, when you import your site back again, it will be back to your same username and password. So make sure that you don't chuck that away, forget it in any way, because you will need it again. So we've got our backup now. The next step is to change over the name servers, make sure the domain's pointed the right way, and of course get our PBN blog. Now, like I said before, use SeekaHost. I do very much recommend them. They've got some very good packages, cheap on PBN blogs as well. And if you're looking to get one yourself, head over to SeekaHost.app. You can get one there within a few minutes. I've got some here, and I've got space for another 2 PBN blogs. So once you've actually bought your package, if you don't know how to do that, I'll leave a link popping up right now and also in the description, which will show you how to go ahead and buy a PBN blog. Really is a short process. Once you have, of course, made your account, you can just head over to PBN blogs, and then you can go ahead to create new in the top right corner. If you've just started, you won't have anything on your list right there, and what we're going to do is we're going to add it. So let's go ahead to create new blog here, and you're going to need to remember your domain. So we don't need to put www. here, we can just put sabsglam.com or whatever your domain is without the www. If you haven't set up any categories, it will come up as a default category, and then just do your blog title. So mine, I'm just going to keep that as Sab's Glam there. Keep the blog visible, and let's go ahead and add blog. So what this is going to do, this is now going to add it to your PBN blog list. However, it's not completed yet. It's not been transferred over. The domain doesn't recognize exactly where it is, and it is still being hosted on your first original host. Now what we're going to do is just going to wait. It might take 30 seconds to a minute here just for it to swap over, and once that's done, we're going to go ahead, swap the IP over and also the name servers. And the next thing that we want to do is go ahead to the action action button just here. One thing to do first of all is just come down to your username and your password. You can copy that here and of course press the I and that will show your password. Just copy this. This will be somewhat temporary if you're just swapping over. If you are doing a brand new blog, obviously keep these. This is your username and password to log into the site. However, because we're swapping over, this is just going to be temporary. So just make a file, write it down, just keep it somewhere safe. So I've made my note of that now, and what we want to do next is change over the name servers and the blog IP just to make sure that it recognizes, your domain recognizes where the host is, and it will send people the right direction. To do this, you have to find your domain provider. So I've brought my domain off SeekaHost.com. So if I log in here, I'll be able to go to my domain. Of course, you might have bought this somewhere else. So just go ahead, find where you bought your domain, and then just go ahead to domains, and then you're going to go ahead to manage domain or manage name servers. And then you're going to go ahead, press the three dots here and go to manage domain. Yours might look a little bit different, but you will still have the manage domain option. So there is going to be two things that we need here, and that is going to be the name servers on the right and the private name servers. The first thing to do before you actually change the name servers themselves, you're going to come to private name servers. This is where you're going to also add your IP and the name server. Just to show you exactly what that is, if we head over to our blog, you see name server 1 here. So we got ns1 sabsglam.com, and then it has an IP. The IPs are both the same, however they are obviously different to your other blogs or sites. So what we're going to do first is we're going to copy the IP right there. You can do the blog IP because it is the same as both the name servers, and we're going to head back to where we host our domains from. So up here in the first name server, we're going to put ns1, so that's name server 1. Now go ahead and save changes. So you've just done the name server 1 IP. However, once this is saved, we now have to do number 2. So name server has successfully registered. We'll just now do the bottom one. So we do ns2, and we're going to go ahead and put the same IP again there and go ahead and save. Now it's very important to do this because you will not be able to change the name servers otherwise. It doesn't work the same as a WordPress site. WordPress site, you just have to change the name servers and that's it. However, on here you do have to change the name servers with the private IP because it's a private name server. So once you've done that, that's all saved there. We can come down to use custom name servers here. You might have started on the use default name servers. If you have, just come down to use custom name servers, and you can now change this over from here. So as you can see, we got name server 1, so we're just going to copy that. So name ns1.sabsglam.com. Of course, that will be your domain. You don't need to copy the arrow and the IP as well. So let's just go ahead. We're going to copy that, and we're going to come back over to our domain over here, and we're going to change the name servers. Again, if you didn't see where I clicked then, that was the name server on the right or wherever your hosting has got it. Now let's go ahead and paste it into here. As you can see, we have our new name server. Let's just do that for the second one as well. Not the whole thing, so that'll be ns.sabsglam.com. I'm going to go ahead and copy, come back, and then paste that in ns2. So we got that all done. Now we should be able to go ahead, change name servers, and it won't give us any errors. If you haven't done your private name server already, you will get an error saying that it hasn't been able to proceed. The problem is, of course, that you haven't done your private name server. However, we have, so changes saved successfully. So what we now have is we now have our domain pointing to the right hosting. We have the hosting for the actual blog. Now we have to do the bit that I always find the scariest and delete the original blog. I've never had it go wrong. However, I still find it scary. So let's just go ahead to WordPress sites over here. But I just want to assure you I've done this many times and this is how it works. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. Just always have it in the back of your mind. You have a backup. So now that we've got our backup, we know that we're safe. We can now delete this blog. And what you want to do is just go to the actual site itself that you were originally hosting it on. One thing to remember is that you might need to delete any emails. If you have got any email accounts, you won't be able to delete it if they're still active. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one. Of course, if you do want to keep using it, create a backup or perhaps make another email that's the same account. So obviously you would have deleted this now. Let's just head back to our WordPress site over here, and as we got our original host, this is where we wanted to delete it from because we don't want it pointing in two directions. The domain can't have it in both places. So let's just go down to the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and delete the blog here. Are you sure you want to delete the website? Yes, we are. We have our backup and we're ready to go to the new place. Now this might take 30 seconds to a few minutes again just to delete it, and that's done as quick as that. So now what we want to do is come back to our new PBN blog that we got, and as you can see, we still have a red padlock there. It's not got its SSL certificate loaded up yet. However, it is now pointed in the right direction, and we're now hosting it on our PBN blog, so that's great. As we have our name server set up, we should now be able to open our SSL. I'm going to go ahead and click that on. Of course, don't do this unless you have propagated your name servers yet. Just do the name servers first, then put the SSL certificate on, and as you see there, it will be active within 30 minutes. So back to blog info over here, and we're going to want to log into our new site, or the same site, however, on the PBN blog. Don't worry, worry, this will now be plain, it won't have anything on. You'll have to re-log in using your temporary username and password that I told you to save down earlier. So let's go ahead and log in using that. And there we go, we're on to our SabsGlam site. However, as you can see, if we click on here, it's going to look pretty sad. It's going to look exactly how you first had the site, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to plugins, and what we're going to do is we're going to download the all-in-one WP migration plugin again. This is why it makes it so easy, and we've done the file like that because it's super easy to import again. So let's go ahead, install. Once we've installed, we're going to click activate, and then once activated, it's going to bring us back to our plugins page. And as you can see, as quickly as that, we have the plugin activated. So what do we want to do? We want to come over to the all-in-one, and we want to go to import. So let's hit import. It'll bring us up to the page, and then we're going to import from, and we're going to go file because that's how we saved it. So let's grab the file. As we can see there, we've got the SabsGlam file on our last download, so let's double click that. Now, one message that you probably will get if your site's not quite small is that your file exceeds the maximum upload size for this site. Now, if you just head down to the Get Unlimited tab over here, it's going to bring you to two options. One, of course, is the paid option, which is premium. However, you have also got the basic option. This is for sites smaller than 512 megabytes, and it's a free plan. So let's go ahead and download this, and all we're going to need to do next is upload it onto our plugins. Again, that only takes a few seconds. Virus checking, just making sure it's safe, and we've now downloaded it. So now if we head back to our site where it told us that we can't fit it because it's too big of a file, and we're going to go back to plugins. You're going to go to add new on the top right there, and then we're going to go to upload plugin again. So we're not going to search in the search bar here because we've got the file. We're going to go ahead and choose file right there, and what we've got to do is just head over to the all-in-one WP migration, and we're going to do install now. Once that's installed, just activate it and you're done. That's it. So once we activate it, we should now be able to go back, import our site, and it'll all be fine. So let's go to the all-in-one WP migration. Let's go to import, and then we'll go to import from, back to file, and just like we did before, we're going to select the backup of the SabsGlam site. As you can see, it's now started downloading, and it's just going to be a process of waiting for it. Now all the hard work is pretty much over. You have two more steps left. They are important steps, so just stick around to make sure you do them. However, all the hard work is over. It's now downloading. It's downloading your username and password that you last had, and everything is going to be as is, apart from the 2 bits that we've just got to do once it's finished loading. So we'll catch you again once it's all at 100% and all done. That's only taken a matter of minutes here, so let's go ahead and proceed. And we've now imported our site. We're just going to do some finishing up bits, and then we've got 2 more bits to do, like I said earlier, and then we're completed. You can start blogging, you can start linking your other PBN blogs, growing your network, and learning some of that core SEO knowledge that you need to grow all of your sites. So as you can see here, we're all done. We're going to go ahead and click finish. Now we just need to do the 2 finishing things. However, whenever you click something on here, it's going to log you out. You're going to have to log back in. There we go. So as you can see, we now have, we don't need the temporary username and password. We can just chuck that away. Don't need it again. We can go back to our original username and password here, and we can just go ahead and log into our site. Just like that, we're logged in. Let's go ahead and make sure that everything is as is on the site itself. Great, so that's all looking just like it should be. Now let's head over to our WordPress and let's finish off with the last 2 things. That is just your settings. So let's go ahead and just click the settings button. None of the options coming from it first. And the first thing that you want to do is your WordPress address URL. You need to add the www. Here underneath for the site address URL. You again need to add the www. As well. This is very important. Make sure you do this step, and now we can go ahead and save changes there. It may or may not prompt you to log in one more time. Just make sure you click remember me if you want it to remember you, and that'll be it. Won't keep asking you again. Last thing, go ahead to settings, and we're going to go to permalinks over here. Sorry, I didn't mean to press that first. Because it has reset this, so I always generally put post name. If you have got a different way of doing your permalinks, do the way that you want it. However, I normally have post main, but just make sure that you do this, otherwise that'll be reset and it will just be coming up with the weird text that it does. So let's go ahead and save that, and we're done. As easy as that, we've moved over our WordPress site to our PBN blog. So thanks again for watching, guys. If you are looking to start a PBN blog or WordPress site yourself, make sure to come to the SeekaHost.app site. Here you can host all of your PBN blogs, WordPress sites, tracking sites, domains, all in one area using this neat dashboard right here. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again on the next WordPress tutorial. Bye bye.